Remember?
Aye, the solstice.
The winter solstice.
Every December 21st, we'd go up there and light the bonfire. All night and wait for the return of the sun.
And when it appeared, we'd pop the cork and toast the coming of spring.
Things are different now.
Aye. December 21st is no longer a day of celebration. It's a day of mourning.
The day when we pray for the dead.
The day we pray for the dead.
Funny. The solstice is not something we celebrate in Jersey. Don't know why.
Because you're in the middle of
The middle?
the earth, away from the extremes of darkness and light.
Look, your wife.
Your wife!
What is she doing?
She's talking to herself again. She's been doing that a lot lately. I come home from work to see her sitting at the window, talking to the sky. And at night, she wanders the house, talking to Adam as if he were there in his room.
What does she say?
She goes over and over the moment of his death. Over and over the moment she heard this news. Just like she's walking these hills now, but with words, going over and over the same ground.
Maeve needs to talk.
I've stopped listening. I can't take it anymore.
Let us talk to her. Maybe she'll listen to us.
Let us listen to her. We haven't heard her story before.
What's old to you is new to us. Who knows? Maybe we can find something in what she says that can help her.
By all means, go ahead. I'll give anything a try.
Mrs. Livingston.
Mrs. Livingston, may we talk to you?
You want to talk to me?
Yes.
You want to talk to the crazy lady, huh?
Manny, please.
No, there's no way with you.
It's all right if it is. And it's all right, too, if you think I'm crazy. Because I am.
We don't think you're
I'm
crazy.
roaming the hills looking for my son's body. Only a crazy person would do something like that.
What her
I'm
mother?
not a mother anymore.
Mrs. Livingston, talk to us, please. Tell us your story.
Tell us what you were and what you were doing when it happened.
We need to hear it.
And we need to tell our story too.
Mrs. Livingston, 7 years ago, life as we knew it came to an end. We are still suffering.
I was in the kitchen, and I was baking a pie for Adam. Pumpkin pie to welcome him home. The TV was on. It was tuned to a soap opera. I listen to it when I'm cooking. All my children. One of the couples was fighting. The woman was pregnant. She wanted to get an abortion. Don't be a fool, I say to the woman. Have the baby. I grab some flour and I sprinkle it on my pie dough. I roll it out once in each direction, like this, the way that my mother taught me. And then suddenly, Ted Koppel's voice comes out in the air. I know immediately something's wrong. You only hear Ted Koppel's voice at night, never in the day. He said,
We interrupt this program.
I thought, oh dear, something awful happened. Getting so close to Christmas. What a shame. Grab more flour, and I sprinkle it. Then he says,
Nan Ham 103.
pie dough sticks to the rolling pin.
Nan Ham 103 was last seen in a fireball in the stomach.
I double over. My face presses onto the kitchen counter. The pie dough was cold, my nose and cheek. I broke the counter for something to hold on to, and my arm hits the flour bin, and it crashes to the floor. My feet are covered in flour. I reach for the handle on the refrigerator. I pick myself up. And there, on a note, held by a magnet, it said, Adam, 7 p.m., JFK, Pan Am 103. I live in New Jersey. I have 2 cars in the driveway. This is not supposed to happen to me.
You think the worst can't happen,
You think that it won't?
but then one day it does.
The poor soul on television is suddenly you.
And the faraway disaster lies in the flour that falls on your kitchen floor.
Mrs. Livingston, let's light our candles. I brought them from the village. We'll keep our vigil here, together, where your sun died.
No! Lighting your
Livingston.
Please.
Death is a guest whose visit is short. When it comes to your house, it never stays.
It just pokes its head in the door to drop something off, and it's gone. But grief,
It's a guest who stays too long. Its visit turns from days
into weeks,
to months, into years.
it takes over your house and will not
Leave. It wears a dark coat.
It sleeps in your bed all day and sits in your chair all night.
It rearranges your closets and cupboards. It leaves your dishes in your sink. Wherever you go, it follows.
Whatever you do, it
Watches. It stands behind you, hovering over your shoulder, so you know that it's there.
Yes.
I was driving to the petrol station.
I was walking the dog.
I was baking a pie. I could wait.
Suddenly,
The sky turned red. The ground shook.
The pie fell.
The tree at the end of the lane burst into flames.
I slammed on the brakes.
I ran to the door.
I turned and looked. My neighbor's rose garden was on fire too. Green bushes with wee buds of fire where the flowers should have been.
I jumped out of the car.
I ran outside. And there, on top of the hill, was a suitcase. A red suitcase, sitting there, as if someone set it down.
People were running from their homes, screaming and crying.
Gordon McPherson was in the street holding the body of his daughter. His wife was kneeling beside him, pushing her fist into her eyes.
When I got to my house, the lights were still on, but the roof was gone. I unlatched the gate and stepped into the yard. Someone yelled,
Don't go in there!
but I didn't listen. I had to see what had happened. I pushed open the door. Inside my living room was a pile of bodies. 71 bodies still strapped to their seats.
Suddenly, there were helicopters and police sirens. Down on Lockerbie Lane, Christmas carols were playing.
Letters fell from mailbags, from the clouds.
They drifted to the ground and covered the street like snow. We saw the wreckage
The things they couldn't show on TV.
We saw the bodies.
and the body parts,
Strewn like litter along the streets.
and we saw the faces. Oh God, the faces.
The faces of the dead.
The
Faces of the dead. It's the faces that haunt me the most.
Some would escape when it happened. Their faces were peaceful.
But others would await, their faces frozen in horror and disbelief.
They knew.
Yes, they knew.
You could tell that they knew what was happening.
What was happening?
We live in Lockerbie.
Lockerbie!
Lockerbie.
Lockerbie.
Lockerbie, Scotland. A tiny little town.
Rolling green hills.
North of the Solway Firth, in the Dumfries regions of the Scottish lowlands.
Where the Annan River meets the Kinnell and the Moffat.
But not exactly.
No, not exactly. We're off to the side of it, off the beaten path.
Far away from the troubles of the world.
Trouble just doesn't come to Lockerbie, Scotland.
There's nothing for it to do here.
Except graze with the sheep or take tea in the afternoon.
But one day,
Yes, one day, in an instant, in a blink of an eye, a sudden twist of fate rained metal on our roofs.
the fog that clung to our gentle hills turned to smoke, and our gentle rain turned to blood.
Mr. Livingston,
Are you all right?
we upset you.
No. I just didn't know. That's all.
I never should have let him study in London. I never should have let him go so far from home. He was too young. He was much too young to go so far from home. And I should have been more firm. I should have said no. I should have said, no. You cannot go. Oh, God. Why didn't I say that? And why did I choose Aunt Anne over Delta? There were 2 boxes on the application form. Why why didn't I check the box for Delta? And I should have let him stay an extra day with his friends, but I said, no, I want you home for Christmas. I want you home for the party. Your father has a bad back. He needs you to hang the Christmas lights up for him. Oh, God. And why did I plan the party for Friday? I should have planned it for Saturday. If I planned the party for Saturday, he wouldn't have been on that plane. He would have come home a day later. He never would have died. Yes, if I had planned the party for Saturday, he never would have died.
Maddie, we couldn't have the party on Saturday, remember? Saturday was Christmas Eve. We never had the party on Christmas
You
Eve.
can't have a party on Christmas Eve.
Yes, but we never did
You
that.
could have flown on Delta.
You didn't like
I could
Delta.
have said, no, you cannot go. I could have said, yes, you can come home whenever you want.
You let him go because you loved him. And you brought him back because you missed him. You did what any mother would do.
I should have hung up the Christmas lights.
Maddie.
I could have gotten up on that ladder myself.
I wouldn't have let you! Maddie, there's nothing you could have done to stop this. This tragedy did not happen because of you. Get a hold of yourself. Maddie, sweetheart, come back, please! God. Just get even worse.
Our lives are made of choices. Hundreds of little choices. Each with a consequence that determines our fate that we can never see.
You check the box for Delta, and your son lives.
You check the box for Panam, and he dies.
You walk the dog early one day and escape the disaster that falls on your house.
Or you go to the petrol station before going to the market, and you find yourself standing in the middle of the wreckage.
Choices
Such little choices.
that create such big results.
Choices.
You duck into a doorway to get out of the rain, and you meet your future husband.
You take the train instead of taking the bus, and you meet a long-lost friend you haven't seen in years.
Sometimes I wonder if the choices that we make are ours at all.
Yes, or if they're made by something else. Something greater. Like God.
Yes, it seems sometimes that these things are fated.
Fated. Yes, meant to happen.
And sometimes it seems that they're not. Sometimes it seems that they're not meant to happen at all. They just do, for no reason.
If I ever get his killers, I will kill them. No, I will more than kill them. I will torment them. I will inflict on them the measure of pain that they've brought to me.
Maddie.
They should suffer. And at the very least, their suffering should equal the suffering they've caused.
You can't repay endless suffering.
Yes, you can, and you know how? With endless pain, that's how. And let me tell you that pain is a gentle word to describe what I would do if I ever got the chance. Pain, I would bind their hands and their feet with wire. I would cut them with sharp knives, and I would grind cigarettes into their
Madeline,
eyes.
stop! What's gotten into you? This is a vigil. We come here to find
I
peace.
want justice! And I will find peace until there's justice!
That's not justice, that's revenge.
Those men killed your son. They killed 270 people. They destroyed our lives.
I know, but
How
Maddie,
can you be so calm?
because Rays won't bring him back. Honey, look, I know you're angry.
You are goddamn right I'm angry. I didn't deserve this.
No, you didn't.
I was a good mother and a good wife. I made cookies for the bake sale. I gave money to the swim team. When someone got sick, I made chicken soup. I mean, I planted cherries and I peeled grapes to make your favorite pie, Bill. And this is what I get. This is how I'm repaid for being thoughtful, for being a good person, for leading a good life.
Honey, I know.
No, you don't!
Yes, I do! It's not fair! But Maddie, life's not fair! At some point you have to accept that. You have to move on.
What is there in my day that's worth moving on to? Breakfast, lunch, dinner, talking on the phone, driving a car, playing bridge? No. And I don't know how anybody could move on after something like this!
I moved on.
You didn't love him as much as I did.
Maddie.
If you did, you wouldn't have gotten over it so
That's not
fast.
true. You know that's not
You
true.
cleaned out his room and you gave away his belongings.
I did that to help you.
Just go on as if nothing happened.
What am I supposed to do? Stop living? Spend my days weeping on the couch like you?
You didn't cry at the funeral. You didn't cry when Justin died. You didn't cry at all.
How could I, Maddie? I had to do everything. I had to do everything to keep you from falling apart. I had to send the medical records to Scotland. I had to talk to the friends and neighbors. I had to As photography reporters who stood on our lawn with cameras taking pictures of my grief. I even had to take the Christmas presents back to the mall because you couldn't stand beside them under the tree. Do you know what that was like? Can you even imagine it? Try. Try to imagine it just for a moment. What are you saying? What do you say to that suspect? What do you say to the 16-year-old schoolgirl who stands behind the counter at JCPenney and asks, "Why are you returning this sweater, sir?" Do you tell her? What do you say? I just looked at her. Her face was round and soft. Her hands were chubby like a child's. What do you say to someone so young and innocent? This was for my son, but he died? The plane he was taking home for Christmas crashed? He was blown to bits by a bomb? What do you say to the pretty young girl with red and green ribbons in her hair? I just said, "My son." But I cannot tell her. I cannot show my grief, because to do so would take her innocence from the world. I just said, "My son doesn't need it anymore." And then I breathed a sigh of relief, because I think I've gotten through it. But oh no, it doesn't stop there. She smiles at me and asks, "Would you like to exchange this for something else?" Would I like to exchange this for something else? Oh yes, 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 yes! What I would do to exchange it for something else, but I say, no. No, thank you. The store does not carry what I want or need right now. Just give me the credit, please. And I go to the next store to return the Nikes. And the next store to return the pajamas. And the next store to return the bathrobe, the blue jeans, and the bike helmet. I go to 6 stores before the day is through, and I'm the same conversation in every single place. She's right. I didn't show my grief. I couldn't. I had to keep myself numb just to get through it. Maddie? I'm sorry. Oh God. I don't know what to do.
The dark forest leads to an open field. The dark valley rises to a mountain where the sun shines bright. Spring follows winter, and morning, the dark night.
There is an order in the world, an order behind the chaos and the violence.
And there is purpose.
Yes,
If the sun never set, you would find no beauty in the sunrise.
if the night was full of light, we would not see the stars.
And if hatred never pierced our hearts, we would not know the power of love.
The power of love. These things were given to us for a reason.
Though the reasons never made fully clear.
They are given to us so that we may learn and grow. No one is given a burden they are unable to bear. You have to trust in this.
Yes.
Trust in the rising sun and the stars that shine at night.
Trust in the strength of love to overcome the awesome power of hatred.
Trust.
Yes, trust.
Trust.
And believe that behind all the suffering in the world,
There is a purpose to everything.
I want to believe that. I want nothing more than to believe that Adam died for a reason. But I can't. I just can't. To believe that would mean that Adam died so that I can learn and grow. And that's not true. There is no lesson so important as the work of Christ in his life. To believe that would mean that I am the center of the universe. That all things happen for my benefit, and they don't. The things that happen in this world, the horrors, just happen. And they happen for no reason. The only thing you can do is accept that. Just accept the suffering that comes to you and move on the best you can. Love helps. Goodness and kindness do too. But they are in this world not because God gave them to us, but because along the way, people discover that they can make our lives a little easier to bear. there is a God. And sometimes when I lie in bed at night, I think that there isn't. But if there is, he's absent from the world and pays no attention to the needs of men.
Oh God, his words leaving me nothing to hold on to.
Love, are you alright?
My faith is hanging by a thread. Again, how easily my faith is broken.
Mine too.
Pray soften me, faith.
I lose it at night when I'm lying in bed.
I lie awake at night too.
But in the morning, when the first rays of the sun hit my window, it is restored.
Then the night.
The night comes so quickly, doesn't it?
Funny, the Lord won't let you lose your faith, but it won't let you keep it either.
No. So what do you do?
I bake scones.
I clean the house. My house has been spotless for the last 7 years.
And I always bake extra, so I can give them to others.
I need to go to the warehouse. I need to get the clothes. I need to find my way out of this dark valley before the night is